Hello, I'm filmmaker Ben Makinen here in Bali, Indonesia. And thank you for inviting me to the Extra Extravaganza for the 40th anniversary of Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders, filmed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back in 1982. I was an extra, and I'm going to share with you a few stories and recollections I have from being both in front of, but mostly behind the camera, including a rather spectacular evening spent in Diane Lane's hotel room on the evening of the wrap party. This whole experience sat within me for a long time, kind of like a sleeper cell or a seed that came to fruition almost 40 years later as I was struggling to work through some obstacles in the completion of my first feature-length music documentary titled JazzTown. So I'm going to share that story with you and show some recently discovered symbolism in the film that I had never seen before. All right, let's go check it out. Somebody better get that coffee tasting better. Okay, quiet on the set. Sound, roll camera, and action. Ow! Oh, son of a... So you're probably all asking, Ben, where are you in The Outsiders? Where can we find you? What scene are you in? Am I the guy in the blue shirt beneath his chin? There are so many amazing things about that experience with The Outsiders. And, I mean, we were all young, teenagers. People were going crazy. It was controlled chaos. Everyone was on fire. They could feel the electricity. I don't think anyone really knew what the movie would become. Everyone was living in the moment and swearing, roughhousing, goofing off. They didn't know what it was, but everyone knew they were part of something big. And besides, it's just a bunch of kids going crazy on a movie set. What could be more fun than that? I had moved to Tulsa with my father that year from California. Can you see me through the glass sitting at a booth? My big brother Aaron was cast as the stand-in for Ponyboy. Aaron comes home after working on the movie for a while and says, Ben, they need more extras. Why don't you come on down and get your headshot taken and see if they'll hire you? And that's how I got the gig. Does anyone else remember the Tai Chi master that was on the set of The Outsiders? I would love to get his name, if any of you know. But Francis Ford Coppola had hired a Tai Chi master to conduct like these ongoing sessions. And they were like drop-in classes. You could just, this guy seemed to be in perpetual Tai Chi motion. And people would just drop in, actors, directors. One of the other things I remember quite distinctly was the food on set. And do any of you remember this? It was like there were two separate sections. And the table with the bagels and the yogurt and the fruit, anyone could eat that. But to continue on to the table with the freshly catered Italian food, all the really delicious smelling food. And when you're 15, all you want to do is eat all day long. Well, eat and a few other things. But I remember it was like there was a sign on the table with Italian food saying for crew only, and someone was always on guard, I think, to make sure that the underlings, us extras, did not venture over to that homemade Italian food table. So it was bagels and yogurt for us little extra guys. So I got hired. I was told to show up early in the morning. They cut my hair, and I waited. And I waited all day. And they never used me. So the casting director said, Ben, I really want to get you into the movie. We can do it tomorrow. Show up tomorrow, and we'll get you in. We'll get you in somewhere. Is that me through the glass? So I showed up tomorrow, and I waited. I did Tai Chi. I ate my bagels and yogurt, and nothing. The end of the day came. I was not going to be in the movie. Hey, Ben, she says, come back tomorrow. it's our last chance. We're going to get you in. I know we can get you in a shot. During the shooting in March and April of '82, I had no idea that my father would be relocated to Denver, Colorado that fall. Well, in the opening shot of the movie, you see Matt Dillon standing at a street corner sign that says Denver on it. So there was my future being foreshadowed in the very opening shot. So on the third day, I show up and I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait. And the end of the day rolls around and it's time to shoot the scene in the, one of the scenes in the Dairy Queen, AKA Tasty Freeze. Now, the guy you really want to talk to is my big brother, Aaron. As I said earlier, Aaron was the stand-in for Ponyboy, Tommy C. Howell. And as such, my brother had the distinction of appearing actually in a number of scenes, but one, when Ponyboy's being drowned in the fountain. The obscured face under the water is my brother's, because they shot that at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and they were too afraid that Tommy might catch a cold. Now I know Mr. Howell is one tough cookie, and he'd probably go out to that fountain right now at 2 a.m. and stick his head under the water just to show you he's not going to catch a cold. And it would probably look something like this. Could that be me through the windshield behind the glass of the Dairy Queen? So now I'm actually on set, sitting at a booth with, do any of you guys remember who was I sitting with? I would love to know who my seat partners were back then. And we all got hot dogs put in front of us on a plate, and there was real ketchup on the table, and probably even French fries. And we were told by someone very important in charge that yes, you could eat the food while cameras were rolling, but keep in mind that the food had to last for the whole shoot. They weren't going to give us another hot dog, you know. And movies being what movies are, you wait around, and I was so damn hungry. I was so sick of those bagels and fruit. So, of course, I put some ketchup on ate a little bit of the hot dog, and I waited. And, of course, we had those sort of nervous, but I'm cool jitters because, like, we all made it. We're all on set. The camera's over there, and we're over here. Don't look at the camera. How hard is it to not look at the camera when you're an extra on a Hollywood set? Maybe that's why I'm not in the movie. Maybe I looked at the camera. Anyway, the camera is way outside in the parking lot, through the glass, right? And we're inside thinking, wow, I wonder if they're going to see me. Should I be eating the hot dog, or should I maybe taking a sip of the milkshake? Okay, here's my wrap party story in Diane Lane's hotel room at the Excelsior. Must have been either a Sunday or Monday night. My brother and I arrive, go into the room. There's Diane Lane on the bed, fully clothed. Okay, this isn't that kind of a story. It is a bit R-rated. I'm going to use some language and drug reference. So send your children out of the room, hit the pause button, or keep rolling, because there's actually a very important lesson here for school children, students of all ages. Diane Lane's on the bed. Matt Dillon is there. They're talking softly. There's a box of pizza on the bed. A couple other people in the room. I sit down. My brother starts talking. Matt Dillon pretty quickly ascertains this isn't the scene for him, and he quietly leaves. Remember, I'm 15 years old. I'm super shy. And Diane Lane is just so beautiful. Remember? Still is. She's a very beautiful human being. So gorgeous that it was nearly impossible for me to even look at her. So I snuck over and grabbed a piece of pizza and went back to the small side table with the lamp by the window. And time went by. Pretty soon thereafter, a few guys come into the room. Big, tough guys. Those kind of guys, right? I didn't know who they were. My brother comes over and tells me, hey, that's Frank, the caterer. I think Frank was his name. Big tough guy, was a paratrooper, did a lot of plane jumps. And my brother says, and that's Dennis Hopper. And that's the stuntman, Buddy Joe Hooker. So all these three guys are in the room now. Dennis Hopper comes down and sits right next to me. Picks up the phone. This is 82. We had phones. And he calls down for room service. And he asks for a plate and a glass cover to be delivered. You know, the kind of glass cover that would go over a cake in a display case or at a diner. So pretty soon those are delivered. And they're set on the table. Well, Dennis Hopper pulls a few things out of his pockets and gets to work like an eclectic surgeon, doing these strange routines I'd never seen before. He took some tinfoil and opens up the tinfoil and pulls out a knife and cuts a slice off this cube of dirty, tar-looking, grassy stuff, right? And then he takes a paper clip and unfolds the paper clip until the point's sticking up. And then he takes that little cube of whatever, dirt, tar, and sticks it on the end of the paper clip, lights it, and then sets it under the glass as it starts to collect smoke. Closes the glass, sucks in all of the smoke, and I'm sitting there watching it going, wow, like, what is that? Dennis Hopper, Jesus Christ, kid, if you want to hit, just ask for one, but don't put that bullshit doughy face shit on me. I was like, oh, okay, I'll try one. Well, what is it? He says, this is the finest Afghan hash you will ever have. So Dennis Hopper proceeds to cut off a cube, take the paper clip, light it on fire, put it under the glass, puts it over in my face, lifts it up, suck in, kid. And I was more baked than I had ever been in my life. Of course, I had only been high once before in my life. But point is, I pretty quickly, soon thereafter, melted into a corner, and just time went by. People, voices, things. I can't really remember much until it must have been very late. I called my brother over and I said, Aaron, I've got finals tests tomorrow in the morning. I can't make it to school. You're going to have to tell Dad that I'm sick or something. What's this? I hear from the corner. Apparently the guys had overheard me talking. You're going to go home and you're going to get up and go to school and you're going to take that test. This is Buddy Joe Hooker now. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because if you're going to stay out late and hoot with the owls, you're going to go home and rise so you can soar with the eagles. And that's what I did. My brother took me home. He woke me up in 2 hours. I showered. I put my clothes on. I went to school. The first class in the morning was math. Now, I had been a very, very good math student. I loved numbers. I loved algebra. I loved the way an equation would balance if you fed it the right formula. Puzzles. Well, when the test was set in front of me, and it was as if I was staring at like Egyptian hieroglyphs, alien code. Nothing made sense when it should have made complete sense. I freaked out. I panicked. And I have never, ever again went to school high, nor did I ever get high at school, ever. So thank you, Dennis Hopper, and thank you, Buddy Joe Hooker. One last little bit of symbolism I caught in The Outsiders is the bus identification number on the number 2 Peoria bus, the one that takes them to the hospital and back. The ID number of the bus is 7314. You all know 731. That's the most famous house address in history. 731 North St. Louis Avenue, right? Well, the bus number is 7314. 314 is my birthday, March 14th. So there again, I found something that connected me on another deeper symbolic level to The Outsiders. And that's important because there was a period where I was trying to edit I was trying to complete the edit of my film JazzTown, and I was going through a very difficult period of life. I was getting through an ugly second divorce, and I was raising my teenage daughter by myself on the salary of a jazz drummer. So I was barely squeaking by and I was asking myself, what am I doing making a movie? You know, how can I justify this? Who am I to spend my time making a feature-length film? So I took a short little break. I turned on the TV, take my mind off of things. Cable TV, I watched this show, Bosch, based on a set of great detective novels. On one of the episodes, this character is introduced, and I'm blown away by his acting. It's a grizzled old-looking guy with a big silver beard and silver hair, and he's intense, and I can tell this guy is heavy. I can't recognize him. The show's over, I Google search the credits. It's Tommy C. Howell. Blew me away, sent me down a Google rabbit hole as I went into everything Outsiders and reread all the things Danny had done to get this museum up and running. The efforts of Dana and Tim Hudson writing and Joe and his photography. And it brought back all of these memories. And even though my involvement in the film was pretty minuscule, the effect was enormous. Being on a Hollywood movie set with Francis Ford Coppola and Diane Lane and Tom Cruise and Emilio Estevez and Patrick Swayze, right? It happened. I was there. And that became part of a big push that helped me cross the finish line with this film of mine. So, you know, speaking of signs and symbolisms can come across as a bit silly or trivial, but I believe we human beings really need those things, signs from the universe at times, to help us get through dark periods of our life, to make it through obstacles, you know, to stay gold, really, to stay gold. So thanks for listening to my stories and my recollections. I wish I could be there with you all. Have fun. Enjoy the moment. Look around and appreciate everything that's going on right now where you're at. And thanks again for inviting me to the Extra Extravaganza. I'll see you in the movies. Bye.